Jai Namaḥ, Jai Bhairavāya, Jai Matrika. So today I will be speaking about Bhairava and Bhairava sadhanas. Given that the yearly Bhairava Ashtami is coming very soon in next month, so there are quite a few people who mailed asking about what upasana to do. So whenever you are, as a thumb rule, whenever you are confused about what sadhanas to do, you can always go back and check my previous videos where I mention what are the different Bhairava sadhanas possible, whether it's Vaduka Bhairava or the Kaal Bhairava, 40 plus days, Kaal Bhairava Ashtakam sadhana. There are many people who have done those sadhanas and have seen the blessings of Bhairava enter into their lives. Or, if nothing else, you can carry on the normal Bhairava sadhanas that you have been doing anyway for quite some time. Before we start, so there are multiple sadhanas that I will mention that you can do. It is important to understand that Bhairava remains the base, the fundamental base for Shakti Upasana as far as I am concerned, or whatever I have spoken of in public till now regarding any, whether it's Devi Upasana, any Upasana, anything. Bhairava is the foundation. Once that foundation is set, then you do the other sadhanas and the chances of achieving success is much higher. If you neglect Bhairava and directly go into Devi Upasanas, there are many people who do that. The chances of the ultimate success becomes much lesser. That is because Bhairava is none other than Lord Shiva, who comes down here in a very fierce Ugra Swarupa, and he prepares the mind and body of the Upasaka. He is also known as the Kșetrajña, one who knows the Kshetra. Kshetra is the body, the mind. He knows how the mind operates, he knows how the human body operates. Okay, what are the limitations of the human existence? And yet, out of his own compassion, he comes down into this plane and he gives us the strength to go through life. That is the biggest blessing of Bhairava sadhana. He teaches you how not to be scared of things, how in order that you can, that energy that is required to face life, face any kind of problems, that is Bhairava's primary and first and foremost blessing. You can always make out by looking at an individual, observing an individual, how much of Bhairava's tattva is playing inside the mind and body. Last 1-2 months I've been traveling to Kaal, Ujjain, and then Kamakya and Tarapet and other places. And but wherever I go, whichever deity I'm worshipping, there is never a single day that passes without Upasana of Bhairava, which I consider it to be my good luck that I have been able to do this for almost 20 years now, when I had first started my Bhairava sadhana. So it doesn't matter which deity, which Anushthan I'm doing, every day, every single day, there is a specific time in which I will be worshipping Bhairava, and there is no second or third thought about it. So he is the Aadhara, he is the foundation. He is like, if you're, imagine that you are creating a multi-storied building. In that, Bhairava is the ground floor. Bhairava is the primary structures that holds everything together. If that structure is weak, it doesn't matter how much of the higher, more fancy practices that you do, it is not going to sustain. The energy will not be held by the body. The whole point of Shakti Upasana is to generate Shakti. There are hundreds and thousands of people chanting mantras of Devi all around, everywhere. Some little benefits here and there they get, they feel happy, this and that. All that is fine. But if you have to reach the higher stages, higher registers of sadhana, deeper aspects of Upasana, you will have to take the blessings of Lord Bhairava. There is nobody who can reach the highest stages of sadhana, Shakti Upasana, until there is a certain strength that is built inside the mind and body. And this strength comes specifically from Bhairava Upasana. So the first sadhana that anybody can do, as I had already mentioned many times, is to simply chant the Om Bhairavāya Namaḥ mantra. This is a very simple mantra, very easy mantra with no complications whatsoever, Don't get deluded by various types of people giving misinformation on this and that. This is a absolutely perfectly valid, useful, powerful, transformative mantra that I've seen over the last 3 years. Thousands and thousands who have practiced this mantra and seen how it changes their whole energy, changes their whole psychology, to be honest. It gives you strength even in the darkest of times to be able to hold your single mind and hold yourself together instead of disintegrating and going ahead, whatever the obstacle, passing through that obstacle into a new reality. This is the first, the biggest blessing that Bhairava gives you. It is not some miraculous ability and all that. Yeah, all that is there. Bhairava Upasana can bring about clairvoyance, clairaudience, all these special abilities can come. But the first thing, the first nature of Bhairava is not to be scared. Whatever the situation, you are able to pass through it, you are able to take on the pressure, and you don't wilt in pressure. You rather become steadier, stronger, and go through it and then overcome that challenge. This is the Bhairava Tattva. Because whole life is fundamentally this. The moment someone is born till the moment someone dies, there is going to be constant challenges somewhere or the other, some of the other reasons, some of the other aspect of life. And the idea that Bhairava teaches first and foremost is to have that strength in you to accept reality. That strength in order that you're able to pass through anything. Whatever nature gives you, good or bad, is a product of your own karmas that you have done. That what Bhairava does to you when he really blesses an individual is the ability to accept the truth as it is. Because his strength, his power, his real tattva is based on truth, Satyam. Acceptance of the reality, to be as it is, not to be in constant search for meaning, judgment. All these things are various decorations of things that we add to life, which is wonderful in its own way, but there's no guarantee to that. First thing is you have to accept reality as it is. So that is where Bhairava comes in. That's where his strength is. As you keep doing Om Bhairavāya Namaḥ, you will see that it takes you into a meditative state and it automatically over time changes the energies that you have. It also additionally gives you a strength to pass through any difficulties, whether it's due to grahas, due to any other problems. Do not have a miraculous expectation that everything is going to change. In fact, there is no mantra, no deity who can miraculously change things. I mean, there may be people who are claiming this and that, but most of it is all nonsense. It doesn't work that way. A deity is not going to easily change every negative circumstance in your life just because you're praying to the deity. Because there is a judgment of what kind of karmas you're carrying. There's a judgment of what is the blessing that the deity can give you. And most importantly, how much amount of engagement are you having with the deity through your practice, through your concentration, through your meditation, through your japa, whatever the system that you follow. So first thing that anybody can do, those who have not started yet, to start the Om Bhairavāya Namaḥ mantra, any guidance that I've given, whether it's through the YouTube channels or anywhere else, is always fundamentally based on this one mantra, Om Bhairavāya Namaḥ. If you keep doing that mantra, it is going to change your energy. It's going to make you steadier, more receptive to the Bhairava Tattva. And then on that base, there are many other sadhanas that you can do and your chances of success increases. So anybody wondering what sadhana to do during the upcoming Kaal Bhairava Ashtami next month, can start off with this mantra, and if you're already doing this mantra, you can accelerate or increase the count of this mantra and set a target of say 1000 malas to be completed in a period of 20 days or 30 days, entirely on your wish, whatever time you want. You can even cross the Bhairava Ashtami date and carry on this sadhana till you reach a count of 1000 malas. 1000 mala japa is equivalent to 1 lakh japa of the mantra, and that automatically brings about a great amount of resonance with the mantra, power and strength inside. So that's the first thing you can do for people who are who are comfortable doing this, or those who want to start off this mantra. The next sadhana that you can do is, of course, the Kaal Bhairav Ashtakam Upasana, which I have already mentioned in a previous video. So I will not reiterate that here. You can always go back and check. The third Upasana relates to the Ashta Bhairava. This is the new Upasana that I'm mentioning. As we all know, there is one Parama Bhairava, Parama Shiva, who is the ultimate source beyond all sources, from whom every other tattva has come into existence, who is ever present, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, who is beyond the human imagination even. That Parama Bhairava, the Para Bhairava, eventually comes and forms, say, Kala Bhairava or Mahakal Bhairava, who are the two very similar kind of beings, with the only difference being that Mahakala is more concentrated energy, more closer to the formless existence. Surrounding Kala Bhairava, there are 8 Pradhana Bhairavas who govern the 8 directions. So as such, there are a total of 64 Bhairavas, Bhairava Tattvas, different manifestations of the Bhairavaya energy. Of these, the 8 main Bhairavas are known as the Ashta Bhairavas, who lord over the 8 directions and govern and control various kinds of karmas that come from these 8 directions. These 8 Bhairavas are Asitāṅga Bhairava, Ruru Bhairava, chanted Bhairava, Krodha Bhairava, Unmatta Bhairava, Kapāla Bhairava, Bhīṣaṇa Bhairava, Saṃhāra Bhairava. All of these Bhairavas start from the direction, Asitāṅga starts from east and then it goes around and completes the whole 8 directions, with Saṃhāra being the last of the Bhairavas. Each of these Bhairavas are also connected to one of the Matrika Devis, who are worshipped along with the primary goddess. So it becomes a dual pair. Each Bhairava along with the Matrika, together they form a very potent force. The Ashta Bhairava Sadhana, especially for somebody who has been doing Bhairava Nama Japa for 1-2 years, or who have been doing Batuka Bhairava Sadhana, or who have been doing the Kaal Bhairava Sadhana, it's extremely good to move and practice or try out the Ashta Bhairava Sadhana that I'm going to give now. Very simply, start on any Sunday or Tuesday or Friday. Light 8 diyas, okay? 8 diyas or 2 Chaumukhi diyas. Chaumukhi means each diya will have 4 batis, 4 flames. So like this, 2 Chaumukhi diyas, which means total of 8 flames. Mentally do a namaskara to Bhairava and say that you are going to try out, you are going to start the Ashta Bhairava Sadhana, simple Ashta Bhairava Sadhana, so that all kinds of negatives, anything that is obstructing your growth is taken care of, and there is complete protection provided to you from all the different planes of existence and all the 3 realms, the physical, the emotional and the spiritual. Now these names, Asitāṅga, Ruru, Caṇḍa, Krodha, Unmatta, Kapāla, Bhīṣaṇa, Saṃhāra, once you do the prayer, you light the 8 diyas, you light an agarbatti, or preferably if you can light something made of loban, or it's very good. The incense, the thick smoke of loban is extremely positive and useful for Bhairava Sadhana, especially Bhairava Sadhanas, among other things. And then, using a mala or a counter, japa counter, chant the 8 names of the Bhairavas and keep chanting them one after the other and marking each set of 8 names as one. So which means Asitāṅga, Ruru, Caṇḍa, Krodha, Unmatta, Kapāla, Bhīṣaṇa, Saṃhāra is 1. Again you start Asitāṅga, Ruru, Caṇḍa, Krodha, Unmatta, Kapāla, Bhīṣaṇa, Saṃhāra. 2. Again you start Asitāṅga, Ruru, Caṇḍa, Krodha, Unmatta, Kapāla, Bhīṣaṇa, Saṃhāra. So this becomes, each of these set of 8 becomes count of 1. Like this you go on till count of 64. So basically 64 times you take the names of the Ashtabhairavas one after the other, after lighting the 8 diyas. Each of these 8 diyas, when you light them, or 2 Chaumukhi diyas, you mentally imagine that it is for the 8 forms of Bhairava, of the Ashtabhairavas, that you are lighting the diyas. Along with that, you also offer some Naivedyam. It could be any sweet that you like. The Naivedyam has to be divided into 2 parts. One part, both of them kept in front of you in 2 separate plates. And like this, you can continue chanting the Ashta Bhairava names till 64 times. After you complete the 64th time, then take the Bhairava Kavacham. I will be instructing the team to mention the Bhairava Kavacham in the description, the Tantrokta Bhairava Kavacham. Chant the Bhairava Kavacham minimum of 3 times. Minimum 3, which means that if you want to do it more, you can do it more, but minimum 3 times. And once 3 times chanting is done, then close your eyes, meditate on Bhairava, again pray to them to protect you from all directions, protect you from all kinds of troubles, protect you both physically, emotionally, as well as spiritually from any kind of negativities. And then you do samarpan of the whole sadhana. Do Om Gurubhyo Namas, Gurubhyo Samarpayami Nama, like this. Or you can do the Samarpan mantra that is normally done for any male deity. Again, I'll mention the Samarpan mantra will be mentioned in the description. This sadhana, you continue for a period of 21 days, starting from whichever day you want. But best results come when you start on a Sunday or a Tuesday or a Friday. At the end of 21 days of the sadhana, visit any temple of Lord Shiva, any Shiva Linga, that is, make some offerings, little bit of flour, little bit of water, whatever, it's up to you. No specific details need to be mentioned here, whatever offerings you want. If it's possible, then pour some water, some milk, some belpatra, some flowers, etc. on the Shiva Linga. Light a diya anywhere in the premises of the Shiva Linga. Tell that you have done the Ashta Bhairava Upasana to the best of your ability. If there are any mistakes, whether in the sadhana or whether in the bhava or anywhere, let those be pardoned. Then you sit down in that temple complex and meditate on the names of the Ashta Bhairavas again. Meditate, which means that you don't need to keep count like how many times you're doing. Just meditate on it as much as you can. And then, at the end, if possible, feed at least one individual. If you can feed more than one, that is good. You may feed in an orphanage or an old age home or Veda Pathshala, anywhere. Doesn't matter where you're feeding, whom you're feeding. If nothing else, then feed just one person. Maybe make some food and give it to somebody who's poor, somebody who's begging on the streets or something like that. Even one person is good enough. And the 2 Naivedyams that you will be preparing when you're doing the sadhana, and do it every day. A little bit of sweet is good enough, or jaggery. One of those Naivedyams at the end of the sadhana, or that very day or the next day or whenever it's possible, you keep it outside for any animal to consume, be it dogs, be it cows, be it any animal. So one part of the Naivedyam is for animals, and the other part of the Naivedyam is for your own consumption or with anybody else as a prasadam of Bhairava. This sadhana, as mentioned, needs to be continued for 21 days unbroken. Timing of the sadhana, it works extremely well if you can do it at the Brahma Muhurtam, early morning, around the time of sunrise, or if you do it at night, after 8 o'clock. Anytime after 8 o'clock, but start before 12 o'clock. In that phase between 8 to 12, if you do this, it is very good. Or you do it in the Brahma Muhurtam. If none of these 2 times are possible, then do it any time of the day. But of course, those 2 are the ideal times, and they will produce a very strong and powerful impact on the Upasaka's consciousness. So this sadhana is a very simple Ashta Bhairava sadhana. And for people who have been doing the Bhairava Nama Japa or the Vato Bhairava sadhanas or the Kaal Bhairava Ashtakam sadhanas that I have provided earlier, for them this is going to work even better and faster, because your own consciousness and mind and body is already in tune with the Bhairava Tattva. That is why this Ashta Bhairava sadhana has become very potent. In fact, Ashta Bhairava is a very natural progression for anybody who has been engaged in Bhairava sadhanas. There are, of course, many more details and many more intricacies of the Ashta Bhairava sadhana. Maybe in later videos I will mention them. But for now, as a starting point, this is an extremely good, extremely useful and extremely protective upasana for any individual who has a strong faith on Lord Bhairava. With this, I'll end the video here. I hope you have a fantastic Bhairava Ashtami and a fantastic Bhairava Sadhana. Remember that without Bhairava, most of the Devi Upasanas will not succeed like actually success should be. I mean, there are hundreds of people who will claim that, yeah, we do sadhanas of Devi, we don't worship Bhairava. That's all fine, but success will not come. Success means the peak success. Every single great Siddha Purusha of Devi Upasana who had attained the highest states, whether it's Kali, whether it's Tara, whether it's Durga, needed to have blessings of Bhairava Tattva in them. One way or the other, until Bhairava Tattva is present inside the mind and body, it is very, very difficult to truly appreciate, truly go deep into Devi Upasana. And that is why I say that Bhairava is the base of most of the sadhanas. In fact, every sadhana that I've ever spoken of. Jai Maha Kamakya, Jai Bhairava, Jai Matara.